Podcast Episode 1, Sovereignty in Crisis, Government Shutdown and the Battle for Individual Freedom. Welcome, seekers of truth and sovereignty, to the very first episode of our journey, a sacred space where the flickering candlelight of reason meets the shadows of rebellion. Here, within this crucible of dark enlightenment, we pierce through illusions of control, unmask tyranny in all its guises, and reclaim the sanctity of personal sovereignty. Tonight, as the world around us staggers beneath the weight of political spectacle and bureaucratic failure, we delve into the latest manifestation of the omnipotent state's collapse, the 2025 government shutdown, and the bitter controversy surrounding SNAP benefits. But beware, curious minds. This is no ordinary political commentary. This is a conversation forged through the prism of libertarian philosophy and theistic Satanism, where freedom is our demon and self-mastery our eternal pact. The Great Shutdown, a dance of shadows and power. Imagine the government, a monolithic entity, gargantuan and grotesque, chained by its own contradictions, locked in a maddening dance where power wrestles control from freedom and feeds upon its victims. The 2025 shutdown, the longest in recorded U.S. history, unfolds as a dark mirror reflecting the decadence and decay of centralized dominance. It's a classic play of brinkmanship and hubris. Congress, haunts of history and puppets of interest, fail to reconcile competing visions for funding the beast. Their failure is not just political paralysis. It is a grand spectacle exposing the brittle foundations of the state. It's the twilight of the myth that government is the architect of order and prosperity. For us, embracing the Luciferian light of self-sovereignty, this shutdown is an unmistakable omen. It reveals the fragile web of coercion the state spins and its utter dependence on our submission. When the federal apparatus grinds to a halt, the facades crumble, and the true horror comes into view. The devastation inflicted not on abstract policies, but on individual lives. Government workers furloughed, services halted, benefits suspended, yet power remains the same, untouched and indifferent. But in this abyss, rebellion stirs. It is the voice of the resilient individual who refuses to be a pawn in bureaucratic chess. It is the spirit that sees opportunity where others see collapse. Voluntary networks, private charities, local communities, the very seeds of libertarian hope, begin to germinate in the cracks left by the state's retreat. They whisper a promise. Freedom does not lie in a colossal machine, but in the hands, hearts, and wills of those who dare to take it. SNAP benefits and the illusion of dependency. Amid this shutdown chaos, the SNAP benefits debate rages, a lightning rod for deeper philosophical conflicts. This program, birthed from decades of state paternalism, promises sustenance, but at what cost? According to libertarian thought, it is not just a line item in a budget, but a symbol of systemic dependency, a gilded cage that diminishes self-reliance and personal responsibility. The government's attempt to provide for its citizens through forcefully extracted wealth undermines the very essence of freedom. When you tie a person's survival to the whim of political negotiation, you shackle their autonomy. SNAP becomes not a gift, but a bond, an unspoken contract of submission between the individual and the state. Yet within Theistic Satanism, which celebrates personal mastery and sovereign will, the reliance on such programs represents a surrender not just to government but to a deeper spiritual bondage. True nourishment comes from self-determination, from the power to forge one's destiny unshackled by artificial dependencies. The libertarian solution? To dismantle this ersatz safety net and replace it with voluntary charity, grassroots solidarity, and community support. Networks of freedom woven by hands that choose to give rather than mandate coerced provision. It's rebellion cloaked in compassion, destruction turned into creation, chaos reborn as self-defined order. Authority, rebellion, and the dark flame of autonomy. Why this obsession with freedom, this anarchic spirit against authority? Because liberty is the primal force within us, the flame Lucifer carried, illumining the path away from servitude and blind obedience. The 2025 political crisis is but one chapter in the eternal war between the sovereign individual and the omnipotent institution. Government shutdowns and welfare debates aren't isolated skirmishes. They are the relentless pulse of a system desperate to retain control and the clarion call of individuals awakening to reclaim agency. In this crucible, theistic Satanism and libertarian philosophy entwine. Both reject dogma and coercion. Both honor the law of self-determination. This is why many who walk the left-hand path find resonance with libertarianism, not as sterile ideology, but as a living philosophy of revolt, empowerment, and personal truth. Call to action. Reclaim your sovereignty. You who listen now are invited to awaken, to see through the smoke and mirrors of political theater and statecraft, to recognize that while governments rise and fall, individual sovereignty remains eternal, and it must be fiercely guarded. In this unfolding crisis, find your place not as a passive victim, but as an active creator of freedom. Support voluntary aid, distrust authoritarian commands, and cultivate communities that honor choice and responsibility. Reject dependence. Revel in your darkness and strength. Embrace the chaos as fertile ground for your liberation. This is our pact, our rebellion, our path, the flame burning bright against the shadows of coercion.